Good afternoon, and welcome to the dedication of the Jerry Hoover Performing Arts Center. Before I sing, I would like to tell you a quick story. When I was in the 6th grade at Henry School, my grade school music teacher, Mrs. Jimmy Sue Cummins, came to me one afternoon and said there was a gentleman who wanted to hear me sing. So we went down to the gymnasium where I sang in my best boy soprano voice. Christopher Robin is saying his prayers. God bless Mommy, I know that's right. Wasn't it fun in the bath tonight? And when I had finished, the gentleman introduced himself as Mr. Jerry Hoover. He told me he was the vocal music teacher at North High School. He told me I had a lovely voice. And he asked me if I would be interested in taking voice lessons from him. I said yes. And so for the next 55 years, I would indeed take voice lessons from Mr. Jerry Hoover. We had a lesson just this last week, right? And I'm getting better, right? We'll see. And while I was preparing for today, I wondered, what if 55 years ago, instead of saying yes, I would have said, no thanks. I imagine my life would have been a lot different. And I wouldn't be standing here this afternoon. But I did say yes, and I am standing here this afternoon, and I want to say thank you, Mr. Hoover. Thank you for asking me. Thank you for sharing your love of music with me. And thank you for sharing the love you have for your students with me. Without a song, the day would never end. Without a song, the road would never end. When things go wrong, a man ain't got a friend. Without a song. Field of corn would never see a plow. That field of corn's the new North High School now. A child is born, but he's no good no how. Without a song, I got my trouble and woe, but sure as I know the joy in the road, I'll get along as the song is strong in my soul. I'll never know what makes the rain to fall. I'll never know what makes the grass so tall. I only
your song. Those words set the tone for the day. Mr. Hoover personally selected songs for the dedication and holds special meaning for him. Good afternoon and welcome to North High School. As principal of North High School, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the dedication of the Jerry Hoover Performing Arts Center. It seems fitting to recognize a man who has become a legend due to no small part to his distinguished service at this very school and its vocal music program. Jerry Hoover has become synonymous with all that is good with fine arts education and its values in our life. Thank you, Mr. Hoover. You helped guarantee the wonderful reputation of our school and it continues to have throughout the state of Indiana. Thank you, Jerry.
Sound the alarm. Care for this house, shine it by hand, and make it so clean the glow can be seen all over the land. Be careful at night, check all the doors. If someone makes off with a dream, the dream will be yours. Take care of this house, be always on guard, for this house is the hope of us all. Take care of this house, keep it from harm. If bandits break in, sound the alarm. Care for this house, shine it by hand, and make it so clean the glow can be seen over the land. Be careful at night, check all the doors. If someone makes off with a dream, the dream will be yours. Take care of this house, be always on call. Care for this house, it's the hope of us all.
Thank you, Bill. What a fitting song. Jerry, you always knew how to pick literature. What an incredible afternoon. Thank you all for being here, and what a joyous occasion, taking time out to honor a fellow teacher, a colleague, and an inspiration to young people. Those are the words that come to mind when describing Jerry Hoover, better known to his adoring students as Mr. Hoover. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Joanne, his magnificent wife. What an incredible lady. Joanne and I go back 30, 40 years. What an incredible woman. And I know that when you saw Jerry, you saw Joanne. So I speak for all of us gathered that I know that Jerry was able to do what he was able to do because of you being by his side. So thank you so much, Joanne. You know, I love to watch people, and as you were watching the screen, I was watching you. And the smiles that came across your face were incredible. And on a day as magnificent as today outside, isn't it fitting that this magnificent facility is named in honor of Jerry Hoover? So I ask you, just what does it take to have a magnificent facility named after you? Think about that. What has one done in their life that would motivate people decades after you had daily interaction with this gentleman to respond in naming a facility in honor of Jerry Hoover? And I appreciate those that have scripted notes for me, and I apologize, as I always do, for not sticking to them. But it's amazing. How can one teach decorum? How can one teach excellence if they don't embody that in their daily life? These people are not here, Jerry, because you taught music. They're here because you taught life. And Dave, you said it so well. Without you, how would our lives have been different? Well, we don't know, but one thing we do know is that they would not be nearly as full and rich as they are. So thank you, Jerry. So it's appropriate that we set time aside to honor a man who's dedicated his life to music, to young people, and to the art of teaching. Mr. Hoover has set the bar so high for vocal music education, not just in southern Indiana, but in our state and also in our nation. And he defined excellence. And he taught by that example I mentioned. And he is a champion for all young people. All this while teaching thousands and thousands of young individuals to love and to appreciate singing. So congratulations, Jerry. Or should I say, Mr. Hoover. You are all that is good, noble, and worthy of education in the Evansville Vandenberg School Corporation. And it is indeed an honor for me to stand before this gathered crowd and to proclaim that this is now and forever will be the Jerry Hoover Performing Arts Center.
What you feel, and know it's right, because the tide will come around when you say it's yours. Believe you've a reason to believe. Believe you can make time stand still, and know
Oh, wow. As president of the Evansville Vandenberg School Board of Trustees, it is a pleasure to read, on behalf of the Honorable Lord Winnicke, Mayor of the City of Evansville, this mayoral proclamation. The mayor sends his greetings and truly regrets regrets that he cannot be here himself for this prestigious event. Mr. Hoover, would you please join me? You know, I sang for you once. And the gift is, I'm not singing today. This is the proclamation from the mayor of the city. There are only 5 whereases. Whereas Jerry Hoover was an illustrious Evansville-Vanderburgh School Corporation teacher and counselor, and is held in high esteem by our community for his dedication and faith in his students. And whereas Mr. Hoover boasts a musical career that spans 6 decades, beginning at Lodge Elementary School, 24 years at North High School, and continues today. And whereas students and friends of Mr. Hoover devoted their time and effort to honoring their teacher. And whereas the Evansville-Vanderburgh School Corporation, North High School, EVSC Foundation, along with the entire community, are grateful for his dedication to his students and his determination to motivate them to do their best. And whereas Mr. Hoover has instilled in his students the pursuit of excellence, therefore, be it resolved that I, Lloyd Winnicky, Mayor of the City of Evansville, Indiana, do hereby proclaim September 14th, 2013 as Jerry Hoover Day.
Well, here we are. Thank you, Jared. That was amazing. I know your parents and your grandparents are extremely proud of you, and we're all proud of you. It's beautiful. Here we are. I do have to do some thank yous, some committee thank yous first. So if you would please stand as I recognize your name, I would like to introduce the Hoover Hall Committee. Reverend Rick Van Hoos, Steve Fritz, Don Bernhardt, Ned and Marilyn Condor. And I would also like to introduce and thank George Conley, who helped me immeasurably with letters, emails, and contacts with the Courier. And although my husband Bob could not be here tonight, I would like to publicly thank him because he is truly the wind beneath my wings. Please join me in applause for these wonderful people. Well, you've all come together to get the job done, and I am deeply grateful. Working with this dream team has been a joy and a pleasure, but I would also like to acknowledge the hard work of the school corporation, Chief of Staff Rudy Montagiano, Gail Kiesel, Executive Director of Development, Amy Dressel, Administrative Assistant, and Jack Schreiber, whose title I think is Jack of all trades, and thank you all for everything you've done. Okay, I get the wonderful job of introducing Mr. Hoover. And you all know who he is because you're here. But I was trying to find some things maybe you didn't know. Mr. Jerry Hoover was born June 26, 1932. He married his wonderful wife, Joanne, 50 years ago. They have 2 sons, Brian and Brett, and 5 grandchildren, one of whom you just heard sing. Mr. Hoover has received several degrees and honors and accolades, but I think that mostly what he has done dwells right here, and in all of you as well. Mr. Hoover, let me please say personally that other than my parents, you had a huge influence on me as a teacher. You taught me the pursuit of excellence and teamwork. You taught me to be a woman of my word and to be on time and to be ready to do the task at hand. All of these things have helped me to be successful in my personal life and my professional life. I cannot thank you enough. But now I want to tell you a story that kind of illustrates this. Quite some time ago, my sister Cheryl was a junior in high school and she was a first-year concert choir person. I was a freshman in college and I came back for the holiday concert to sing the Hallelujah chorus. Cheryl was in charge of the punch for the holiday reception. Things were going splendidly until she ran out of punch. She came to me frantic and said, "What am I going to do? I can't let Mr. Hoover down. I don't have enough punch for everybody. I've got a little bit of Sprite left, but that's it." So we were in the senior foods room at North High School, and we started opening cabinet doors and looking through the kitchens, and we found some things. We mixed them up, we served the punch. A lot of people came up to us and even mentioned to Mr. Hoover that it was the best cherry-flavored punch they'd ever had. Why did you save it for the end? Well, a lot of people asked us for the recipe, and we said, "Oh, you know what, we're really busy, we'll give it to you later." That was 1976. If you're ready, I'm going to tell you that recipe. It was cold Sprite and red food coloring. Nothing else. Here's what we learned. The point of this is we learned in choir to step up to the plate. You know, there's no punch, so do something about it. We also learned to be the best that we could be with what we have. And sometimes that's just Sprite and red food coloring. Those are lessons that have served us well. Mr. Hoover, what you did was take me, who was essentially cold Sprite and red food coloring, and you made me into the best cherry-flavored punch that I could be. recently sent a letter to Mr. Hoover, and she speaks of her gratitude to him through a couple of paragraphs. And then she said, and I quote, "And for all of the very shy and unassuming girls like me, you made us feel beautiful in our lovely white crepe gowns, our over-the-elbow gloves, and our silver dangle earrings. I don't think I would have had any confidence in myself if it were not for your belief in me. And it wasn't just the music, but your kindness and compassion that touched so many lives. Thank you with all of my heart. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the podium a man we all know and respect and love, Mr. Jerry Hoover."
Let me thank you for this honor. I want to say that I share this recognition with many people. Please let me explain this to you. But first, studies tell us the longest attention span is 8 seconds. Knowing this, my wife reminded me to be brief. Well, if you will permit me, I'll follow my notes so I don't ramble. I want to express my gratitude and deep appreciation to those who have brought me to this moment. I thank my parents for their love and encouragement. My mother played the piano, and my parents introduced me to music by making it possible for me to have piano lessons at the age of 6. I learned about choirs when my parents took me with them to church choir rehearsal. As a young boy, I became fascinated with the choir, and I was amazed at how the organist could make music with his feet. My family taught me the importance of God and church, and my interest in music grew from there. I thank my teachers who taught me and encouraged me and gave me opportunities throughout my years in public school. They were role models. Because of them, I knew I wanted to become a teacher. I want to express the deep love that I have for my wife, Luann, my sons, Brian and Brent, and their families that you have been introduced to already. That love has continually inspired and sustained me and given purpose to life that I live. This past August, as Karen said, we celebrated our 50th anniversary. I really must express my thanks to North's first principal, Mr. Adrian Meadows. Having been chosen to be on that initial faculty, I want to tell you that he is one that must never be forgotten. He was an educator with vision, a leader, an innovator, and gentleman who inspired his faculty, students, and staff to support and encourage each other with school spirit. As North's first principal, his enthusiasm, energy, and sense of fair play fostered the North tradition of excellence and pride in achievement. I want to thank the many teachers who supported the arts at North with countless hours of commitment. To each of my students that I have been privileged to teach during the 48 years before my retirement, and to those that I presently teach, I say thank you, for you have taught me how to be a better teacher. You have inspired me with your enthusiasm, your talent, and your commitment to achieve excellence. North's singers were unique. The concert choir was heralded throughout the state. The exceptional accompanists and pit groups were all North students and were second to none. Our talented choreographers and sound technicians were all students from North as well. The students proudly represented the school as they entertained audiences of all ages. The concert choir's spring concerts grew to be sold-out performances at the Vanderburg Auditorium, and our musicals were reviewed in the newspaper by professional critics. I want to, at this point, recognize each of the drama directors who were so important to our musical productions. Without them, it would not have been possible. And I saw one particular one here today. If there are others here today, I want to recognize you as well. But by name, I saw a good friend and a wonderful colleague, Mr. Ron Johnson. Ron was committed to excellence as he knew I was, and we worked very well together. What you heard with the PowerPoint presentations this afternoon was a sampling of the talent and attention to detail. Finally, I'm indebted to the ABSC Foundation and deeply moved by the committee that organized to raise the funds naming this Performing Arts Center. To the chairperson, Karen Whitehouse, a dynamic and tireless leader and a wonderful student in the concert choir. And to the committee members, Don Bernhardt, who was a member of the concert choir, good friends Marilyn and Ed Condor, Stephen Fritz, who was a member of the concert choir and a former assistant superintendent, and the Reverend Rick Van Hoos, who was a member of the concert choir as well. My sincere thanks to each of you who have expressed your love with your generous contribution to sustain this space for years to come. Please permit me to speak briefly about this beautiful space. It is my hope that it will be a place where audiences will gather to appreciate great concerts, great plays, great dance, and great musicals that bring together all of the performing and visual arts. A place where we will witness the tradition of excellence for which North has become noted. Where future actors, singers, instrumentalists, and dancers learn that excellence is communication that results from cooperation and a love for performing. That it will be a place where sharing, trust, and mutual respect exists. During my tenure, I made it a purpose to respect and teach students to believe in themselves. My teaching involved positive reinforcement. My philosophy was always and has always been to offer solutions to the problem without criticizing the student as a person. I sincerely believe that you can't get a tree to grow by cutting it down. I want to thank our talented pianist, Greg Colton, and the singers who shared with us performances of the music that I chose for this occasion. Let me explain. David Westfall reminded us of what life would be without music. William Daniels admonished all who use this beautiful space to respect and care for it. Luther Lewis, with beautiful lyrics, instructed future generations of performers to always believe in themselves. Jared Grant Hoover, my grandson, sang that our actions and words as parents and teachers have a profound influence on those whom we guide and teach. I would like to remind you that Luther will be presenting a concert tomorrow afternoon at Aldersgate United Methodist Church on Lincoln Avenue, just east of Green River Road. The concert will begin at 3 p.m. I hope you will make every effort to attend it. You will be pleased that you did. Finally, I thank you cordially for attending this dedication ceremony in my honor. As I said earlier, I share sincerely this honor with each of you. I applaud the Evansville-Vandenberg School Corporation for having the wisdom to provide this beautiful space, for students to grow in their love for the performing arts, and a space that will enable them to share that love with others. It is my hope that future generations will let these words of the late Oscar Hammerstein II guide them as they strive to maintain North's traditional excellence. They are: a bell is no bell till you ring it. A song is no song till you sing it. And love in your heart wasn't put there to stay. Love isn't love till you give it away. Joanne and I want to express our love to each of you and wish you and your family the best always. And now I encourage alumni and choir members to approach the risers that are behind these curtains, quietly if you will, and there's a reason for that. In preparation, they're going to be singing the about hymn, but while they are coming forward quietly, I would like for you to listen to a choral selection sung by the Mormon Tabernacle Choir that I particularly chose for this occasion. May all your life be filled with love and the joy of music. Thank you.
Blessing I shall bless in
one particular moment in the battle hymn, if you remember, the audience is asked to join in, and I think most of you will know the tune, but if I turn to you, please join us in singing the battle hymn toward the end of the selection. Thank you.
welcome to join friends, students, and fellow classmates in the outer hallway for a reception honoring Mr. Hoover. Just a reminder, if you enjoyed this music, this facility, and this incredible teacher, the Hoover campaign is still accepting pledges for the Hoover Performing Arts Center Fund, which will benefit North High School students. Thank you for attending, and please feel free to join us outside.